Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to go over my top 15 winter palettes. Are we talking Christmas? Not exactly. Are we talking just overall winter in general? Absolutely. So if that's something that you'd be interested in and you'd like to find out what my top 15 winter palettes look like, then just keep watching. I'm so glad you guys decided to stay. All right, I'm so super excited to talk about this. I will probably open up a few and just swatch it just so you can get an idea of why I think that this would be a fantastic winter palette for your collection. Some are old, some are new, most are old. So, hey, we're all about
Chop my stash.
I looked through my entire collection. I wasn't really going for only new. I was going for old and new because, hey,
not all of us buy as much makeup as I do. Okay, so
I figured let's do old and new. Okay, I did have these kind of in a little bit of an, not really in order, but kinda. So the first one is a newer palette. I've only used it twice. And this is why I'm going to show it first because I haven't used it a lot. But the color story is completely wintertime to me. Some of these will be Christmassy, like the reds and the greens and the golds and stuff like that. And some are just, they remind me of winter, okay? Winter colors. Some might be icy and blues and stuff like that. And then some might be rich like golds and stuff like that. And that brings us to the first one. And this is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. Yes, I know this has been around for a long time, but it's new to my collection, brand new to my collection. And when you look at this one, you definitely get that richness, that gold. You have these icy blues, you have greens, and I definitely could pull out some amazing winter looks with this. I'm just going to swatch a couple of the greens, and I think it would pair up nicely with gold and deepen it up with a darker green. I think that would be a gorgeous look. You also have the red, and it has like almost a little gold shift to it already. And then pair it up with some of these other, just absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And then this special shade here, it's kind of blue, it's kind of green, it's just stunning. Even if you wanted to go ahead and pair it up with this red here, so pretty. And then even this blue here, just like, the combinations are just endless, I think, with this one. See that gold? I definitely had to pull this one in, even though that I have not used it, but maybe a couple of times, I still had to pull it in because I think this one is a great winter palette. Okay, now this one is in the mix, but it is towards the end. I kind of put them in order for the most part, but saying they're exactly in that order, I would say not, but they're in the pile. So I'm starting at the end of the line of ones that really speak winter to me and moving my way up to the most, okay? So this, I know it looks like it's very spring-like. It's the Vintage Rose by Give Me Glow, but there's a reason. When I see these reds and golds, I think Christmas. You have red, green, and you have even this rose, like my Christmas tree is rose gold, but you have it. Let me just show you here so you can get where I'm coming from. I definitely I can see Christmas. You know, leave out that baby pink and it's Christmas. But yeah, you definitely can make some beautiful Christmassy looks with this. I know we're just talking winter overall, but this, I'm thinking Christmas. Some of these are they just really speak Christmas to me, and some are winter, but we're gonna put them together. This one here, I love this palette. This is a quad, and I typically do not go for quads, but this one I am so glad I have, and this one here makes such a beautiful wintry look. This is the Crescent Moon palette from Curst Kosmetics. And it looks like this here. This is a beautiful palette. You have this dark blue to black with a little bit of purple glitter in it. And then you have this wonderful shifty shade. And then you have this red and this special shade that is everything. This creates such a gorgeous, gorgeous look. And you are seeing teal in the camera, but it actually is like a royal blue and teal shift and a little bit of purple. But this makes a beautiful winter palette. Okay, so I was kind of stretching it a little bit with this one, but not really. You know, this is definitely one of my favorite fall palettes, but I think that it could be kind of Christmassy winter greens and golds kind of palette. And I just love this palette. So we just had to figure a way to stuff it in here. So it is the Ace Beaute Tropical Vibes palette. And I love this palette. Oh, so this is what this palette looks like. And I know it's kind of stretching it. We won't do a lot of the lighter greens, but look at that green. That is a winter green. And then let's do this gold, so green and gold. And even this greenish teal. And then you have this deeper gold that is so gorgeous. And even these darker brown, like, can you see? Can you see a winter look coming on? Even this, I think of this like marigold color as a winter color. I mean, it could go fall, but I think marigold is kind of like, I don't know, maybe not. But still, I think this is a very, very nice. It is towards the end, okay? So I know I'm stuffing it in here, but I love this palette. So we're going to make it a winter palette. Okay, the next one is definitely a winter Christmas palette. I mean, it's got Christmas written all over it. The only reason it's at the back of the list is because I don't care for the formula all that much. But let's take a look because you're definitely going to see why this is a winter palette. This is the Styl Holiday Sleigh palette. It looks like this here. And you open it up and it looks like this here. Definitely your typical Christmas palette. It's got everything you would want for a Christmas look. I don't care for the mattes that much in this palette, but the glitters, they're not even my favorite glitter formula, but they're so stinking pretty. They're not my favorite glitter formula by far, but you can create some really beautiful looks with this. The tinsel, which is actually, it's holographic. You just can't see it very well. It's a holographic silver. Okay, let's just keep going. Make the greens and the reds, because we just got to see all these glitters. Because you could add that to any look you want in this palette, and it's going to, oops, I put the red in the blue. But see, the red is kind of see-through. It's just not a great quality. But it's definitely a winter Christmas palette. It is. So it's in here. Okay, so the next one is the Klarity Cosmetics Cobra Palette. Love this palette. If you guys haven't tried Klarity Cosmetics, you really need to. Their formula is amazing. And I know this kind of looks a little bit more spring to summerish, but let me show you. The mattes are amazing. Even that color, I think of Christmas when you add it to that. Oh, so pretty. And oh, I just love this palette. I need to use it more. But yeah, I really do. I think this one, it's a winter palette. Even the blues. If you want to talk icy blue for winter, or I don't know, that might not be so icy. But you know, I'm going to reach for it. Maybe that's more icy. But still, it could be winter. It looks like frost. I don't know. It's just blue, which makes me think of ice. So
I think it looks wintry. If I put it on in the winter, it morphs to winter.
This one is considered a winter palette in my mind. And these are my top 15. Okay, so the next one is a little bit more bougie, and it is a Pat McGrath. It is the Mothership 5, and it looks like this here. And yes, it has neutrals. You could do a brown neutral with a pop of gold. You know, this here, this gold is just gorgeous, but this red, that red. And then this over top, oh, or even this, oh, it's just stunning. Even this plummy purple, it's more brown on here, but it's kind of a plummy purple. Makes me think of sugar plums. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. This is a Pat McGrath, and it makes beautiful, beautiful winter looks. The next one up is a new palette. Not just new to me, but new overall, and that is the Wenzdae Cosmetics Blood Moon palette. This palette is for all year round. I can find many holidays to celebrate this palette with, and winter is one of them. If you look at this one, it has a amazing silver. You have your reds. I would even use a black as winter. This here, this shade, the shifty shade, the reds, the blues. Oh, the blues. So many different combinations to make a Christmas look, to make a winter look. So stinking pretty. So pretty. And I've used this palette multiple times, and I'm telling you, like, it could be winter. It could be a winter palette. It could be a 4th of July palette. It could be a Halloween palette. It is a fall palette. It goes throughout the year, but it could be used for so many different holidays, for sure. Then next up on my list is the Be Perfect Carnival XL Pro palette. This here, there's a reason. There's the back, but look at this. It is wintry. You just have to find it. Okay, now, okay, so this one here makes me think of winter. You have a gorgeous gold. You have the reds. You have dark red. You have bright red. You have the pink red. Any red you want is in here. You have the navy blues. You have the greens, the green shifties here, like that there. Or you can have plain green. That's kind of neon, but it is regular green too. And then you have the neutrals and the bronzes and the icy white shades. And so the sky's limit on this one. It is every season in a palette in this. It's everything you need in a palette. And if you have not tried Be Perfect, it is amazing quality. They have some newer ones out, and I know that those look beautiful, and one day I'm gonna get them. They are on my want list, but I just have not bit the bullet on them yet. Okay, the next one is also a new palette that for me is definitely a winter palette. It is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. It looks like this right here, and these have some beautiful shifty shades that I definitely would wear at Christmas. And they are gorgeous. Love this palette. And definitely have some gorgeous, gorgeous winter shades. Even this, I know that it's kind of aqua, but it also has gold in it. And I think that would pair up really nicely and still allow it to look very winter. And then these highlighters can be toppers also, which could also incorporate into an eye look that would look wintry. Love it. The next one I have not pulled out in a while. It is not new, but it is wintry to me. This one is the Juvias Place Wahala palette. And this one, again, glitters, multi-chromes, but the ones that speak to me the most are your red and greens, You could do the glittery gold blue. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's a multi-chrome glitter. It's so stinking pretty. I shouldn't have done it with my pinky. Oh, so pretty. It's like Christmas lights on your face. And then it does have this teal one, but still I think that it looks more green in the camera, but look at that. Look at that. Oh, so stinking pretty. But it also has the shifty gold shade too. Yes, definitely. When you first look at it, you're like, no way, that's not a winter palette. But yeah, it really is. So definitely Wahala was on the list, and it was high up there. Because we're down, this is number 5. We're down to 4 more palettes after this one. The next one is a newer palette. It was released in 2021, and it is the Adept Kodanne palette. Look at these, so pretty. Okay, so definitely like a wintry, icy blue. Again, that is like silverels there. Even this, oh, I love that. And that is, oh, this is just such a gorgeous palette. Yes, definitely. Definitely winter, super, super pretty. But yes, I mean, yeah, it has that pop pink there, but other than that, definitely could use this for winter. And then we're down to the top 3. And so the third one is, I love this company. I have, I think, every single palette that they've ever made. But this one is not only a winter palette, but I think other than the one that just came out, it's kind of tied. But this has been my favorite Nomad Cosmetics palette. It's the Iceland Fire and Ice palette. Oh, I love, love, love this palette. You just have to see this. I know the oranges kind of throw it a little bit, but it's not. It's so wintry and so gorgeous. These icy, oh, ice, and all of these ice ones, totally icy. Like, this makes me think of snow, snowmen, all that. Even this, it's so pretty. Winter Wonderland in a palette. And I definitely needed to pull it out and show it for one of my favorite winter palettes. The next one is from Alien Cosmetics. And Alien Cosmetics, they had a formulation switch on this particular palette. And so you can still get the old formulation or you can get the new one. And it's kind of like Ace Beaute. They kind of did the same thing where you can get both. But this is the Fairy Frolic from Alien Cosmetics, also known as Unearthly Cosmetics. Come January 1, it's all switching over. Okay, but this one, I know like the pink, but whenever you, it looks pink in the monitor, but it's actually like a muted red. And I know my fingers are stained. All these greens, look at that. So this, yes, it's not like the foily red or, you know, the reds that stand out too much. Let's get into this. Look at that. I would even dare to say deepen it up with the brown. You also have this other green shimmer here, but that's why this one is as high as it is, because I have created a gorgeous Christmas look with this one and I loved it. And so this one is scoring high. Kind of want to get the new formula one just to compare it. I like this one. I never had any problem with this one, but I know that they reformulated it for whatever reason. Save the best for last, because it is the best. And by far, is it my favorite winter palette of all time. Why, you ask? It will always be number 1. Always. There will be no other palette that will knock it out of its number 1 spot. Why, you ask? Because it's the palette that I made with Gourmande girls Riri and Senia. And Riri and Senia, their channel names is Adventures of Senia and the Brutally Honest Beauty and Christina at Gourmande Girls, we collaborated and designed this palette. Christina was in charge of designing the cover. We named it together, and the color story was picked out by the three of us. So it was me, Riri, and Senia, and we picked out this color story because we wanted to tell a story with our color story. So there is a Christmas element to it. There are the reds, the greens, the nice little copper shimmer, and then you have these wonderful shifty shades. They shift different colors, but then you layer them over top of other colors and they just transform the other shades. It's such a fun palette. The Silver Bells, again, you can layer it over top of the mattes and it transforms them into another shade. But you can make it very foiled on your eyelids, and it looks like this most beautiful silver foiled shadow. You have this frosty blue. This is a super pigmented shimmery white. You can get it to sheer out into a beautiful highlight. You can use these as highlights. Oh, this is a incredible shifty shade. And you have your greens, your reds, but then you know what? This palette can be incorporated into all times of the year. You don't have to just have it, but you have a darker green and a lighter green to buff it out. You have a darker purple and a lighter purple to buff it out. You have this blue that incorporates with those purples to buff those out. You have this pink shade that you can add to the red to buff it out. You have the browns, the neutrals, you have a darker brown and then a lighter brown to buff it out. And I'm telling you guys, everybody that has seen this palette in person has said the exact same thing, not just us. Everybody that has bought this palette says it is 100 times more beautiful in person than it is on camera. It just does not pick up on camera. I don't know if it's the background of the palette that it sets in or what, but these shades are gorgeous. It just does not pick up on camera. Now, this one is never touched because it will never be touched because it's my display. But my one that I use all the time, it is the first palette ever in my collection that has hit pan. Hitting pan makes me very high anxiety, so I never want to hit pan, but I did. And so it makes me sad, but that's how much I use it. So I'll show you.
But be nice.
Because it's very much used. Okay, so it looks a little sad.
It looks a little sad.
But I had to show you, and we're gonna swatch this, or we're gonna finger swatch it. So that green and that green, and see how those would buff each other out very beautifully. And then you have this red and this chocolate brown, and then you also have Nostalgia, which is this coppery gold. So stinking pretty. And then you just have Fuzzy Socks. Fuzzy Socks is just a great all-over shade, or to buff out other shades. And then you have Slay Queen, which is a deep, rich purple. And then you have Sugar Plum. And Sugar Plum is the lighter purple to it. And again, to buff out or to add to a color. And then Frostbite. Oh, those colors blend so beautifully together. Now the shade Joy I love using as a blush, but it also will buff out the red and look gorgeous. And then you have Snow Angel, which is a high pigmented shimmer white, but it also can buff out to be even a highlight. So pretty. But it also is just a super shimmery white. And then we get to the special shades that shift, and I tell you what, this is Icicle. Meet my friend Icicle. Look at that shift. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lay down Slay Queen, and I'm going to put Icicle over top of it so that you can see what it transforms. Over the top of that purple, isn't that gorgeous? That is so stinking pretty. But it's also just pretty by itself. It's mixed with the purple there, so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like mixed together. Or you can have it like this here. And then Silver Bells, high pigmented foil silver, but layer that over top. See how that transforms that silver? I'm going to rub it in a little bit. Then like this here, this is the feels. The feels look like this here, and it has a gold green shift to it. But if you want, I'm just going to take the green because I do love it over top of this green. I'm going to take this green. It's darker than it's showing up on camera, like a darker shade of green. It looks really bright green there, but it actually has a dark green to it. But I'm going to layer the feels over top of it. Is so pretty. But the feels also, if you lay it over top of other colors, it changes. So it's just so pretty. So yes, this is a special palette, and I can honestly say it will always remain #1 winter palette of all time. So you guys tell me down in the comment section, if you made it this far and you're still here, please leave me the gift emoji if you're still here. And then also tell me down below, what palette is your favorite winter palette? I would love to know what yours is. And out of all the palettes that I showed today, what was your favorite? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I loved going through my palettes and really thinking about what are my favorite. What about these palettes make them my favorite winter palettes? And just kind of revisiting that kind of gets me excited about doing some looks with them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys all have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.
I gave you my heart.